families and children. It's good to have you back with us once again on our second video recording of our Whirl lessons as we continue our amazing journey through the biblical narratives that we follow in the Bible stories about Jesus and what God is doing in our lives. This week we have another amazing story. As you remember, last week we talked about Samuel and David, but today we talk about Mary and Martha, Lazarus, and Jesus. I wonder what we'll discover there. But before we get to the story, let's sing a song. I know you know this one. I'm in right, out right, up right, down right, happy all the time. I'm in right, out right, up right, down right, happy all the time. Since Jesus Christ came in and set my heart from sin, I'm in right, out right, up right, down right, happy all the time. Now I know you like to do it even faster, I am sure. So let's see if we can do that. Ready? I'm in right, out right, up right, down right, happy all the time. I'm in right, out right, up right, down right, happy all the time. Since Jesus Christ came in and set my heart from sin, I'm in right, out right, up right, down right, happy all the time. Now I'm sure we could even go faster. And maybe you want to do that at home. See if you can go even faster than mom and dad or grandma and grandpa. I'm sure you could if you take a really deep breath. But let's get into our Bible story. That's why we're gathering these times, to learn a little bit more about Jesus and how Jesus is with us in our daily walk. Let me ask you a question this time as we begin our journey. Take a few moments with your mom or your dad or your grandma or your grandpa and talk about those things that make you sad. What are some things that make you sad? Maybe something that makes you sad is not being with your friends. Maybe something that makes you sad is that when you're not feeling well. Or maybe something that makes you sad is you weren't able to go and play with a certain friend at a certain time because it just didn't work out. There's lots of things that make us sad, isn't there? And the story we have today has some moments in it that certainly cause us to be sad. In fact, it goes so much to the point of causing us to cry. Have you ever cried before? Oh, maybe when you stubbed your toe, or maybe hit your elbow and that funny bone kind of got going, or maybe when you accidentally hurt yourself by cutting something. Yeah, there are things that cause us to cry, aren't there? And we're going to hear about that in the story today. So once again, you want to have your Spark Bible with you, because I know that's something many of you have at home. And you can find this story in the Whirl Bible too. Some of you may have it there, but we're going to use our Spark Bibles because most of you have them at home. And it's the story about Lazarus. It's on page 440 in your Spark Bible. So let's get into the story, and let's see if we can figure out, why are people crying? Why are people sad? And what changes? Well, here's the story. 3 of Jesus' good friends included a man named Lazarus and his sisters Mary and Martha. Do you have a really good friend? Yeah, they were very close friends with one another. Jesus was on a long journey when he found out that Lazarus was dying. It took Jesus a few days to travel to see his sick friend. When Jesus arrived, he saw Lazarus' sister Martha, and she had some sad news. Lazarus is dead. You can see first when she came to Jesus here in the picture, see the tears? You can see the water coming down from her eyes. That's what happens when we're sad in times like this. I wish you could have arrived earlier, she said. You might have been able to save him. See how sad they are here, Mary and Martha, with Lazarus. Jesus tried to comfort her. Martha, don't be sad. Lazarus will live again. Martha believed what Jesus said. Then Lazarus' other sister, Mary, came to greet Jesus. She wished Jesus had come sooner too. Jesus, if you had been here, Lazarus might still be alive, she wept. See them crying in the picture here? She also believed that Jesus could have healed her brother. Jesus was sad because Lazarus died too. He cried, like we showed you in the other picture. Jesus, Mary, and Martha went to the tomb where Lazarus was buried. Jesus told some people standing there to take away the stone from the tomb. See them doing that? Jesus is pointing and saying, move it away. People were surprised at what Jesus said. Martha reminded Jesus that Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. They had already made his body ready for burial by wrapping it in special clothes. But Jesus knew what he was doing. He insisted that they open the tomb. When the heavy stone was rolled away, Jesus said, Lazarus, come out! The people were frightened and amazed. They were frightened and amazed when Lazarus came out of the tomb. Since his hands and feet were all wrapped up in burial cloths, as you can see here, the people had to help Lazarus. When the people saw Lazarus alive again, they laughed and sang and danced. Many people that day believed Jesus would bring new life to all people. What an amazing story that we find here about Jesus and what Jesus was able to bless Mary and Martha and Lazarus with. Because remember, in our first pictures, they were crying. You could see the tears falling from their face. And you could also see Jesus was crying. Remember when I asked you earlier in our video if there's ever been a time that you've cried? I know each of us have had those times. I bet that's true of even your mom or your dad or your grandma or your grandpa. But one of the things I want you to remember from this story is that Jesus is with us in those moments. That he's there to walk with us and care for us and love us in a way in which can be a true blessing to you and to me. Once again, on the web page are more resources that you can use. In fact, there's another story there that you can utilize, moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas, with your children or grandchildren. Just go to Sermon for Kids, that's the number 4, and find the link for Lazarus. You can put it in the search engine that's there and you'll find it. And there will be some more activities that you can do to reinforce this amazing story of new life that was given. Because that's part of the blessing that we have in this Bible story, is that we have the promise of new life, not only here, but also into eternity. So Lazarus was given new life. Someday Lazarus would die again. But you and I have the reassurance that Jesus will bless us with new life into eternity. So can you join me in a prayer at this time once again? And you can fold your hands and repeat after me. Jesus, we know you understand our sadness and our grief. Be with us always and help us to see new life after death. And let's all say, Amen. Well, thank you for joining us. I hope that you'll take out your Spark Bible and continue to read some of those Bible stories. Next week, we're going to be starting our journey through Holy Week. It's a very special week that starts with a day called Palm Sunday. I wonder what that lesson's going to be like. Maybe in preparation for that, you can work with your moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas in making your own palm branch. They can maybe find something on the internet where you can draw something and create it so you're ready to parade around and shout Hosanna as we celebrate Jesus coming into Jerusalem. Look forward to seeing you next week. Take care. Bye now.